witnessed that, and obviously a lot of the other teams who are similar size to Sheffield Wednesday who've been in League One, you know, you think to Sheffield United and your Norwiches, your Southamptons, your Leicesters, your Leedses, your Derbys, your Nottingham Forest, they've all managed to then return back to the Premier League. When will Wednesday's turn come? Tonight it's all about the FA Cup though, not about the league. It's only a few years ago that Arsenal came into town and were sent back to London with a tail between their legs after a 3-0 defeat. Can Sheffield Wednesday produce a bit of magic like that night? So clearly was once again. It is Newcastle who are going to get things underway and start with the momentum here on the right hand side. A good tackle comes in over on the far side by Reece James, who's been playing very well recently and has really settled into that back three for Sheffield Wednesday. Newcastle will have a throw in. Far right hand side, deep in Wednesday territory. It's thrown short to Joe Linton, who then gets the return back, moves it into the midfield area, kicked away by the Owls. As far as Jamal Lewis, he's got a bit of support with Jacob Murphy, who has it here on the left hand side. He's tackled by Liam Palmer, and the referee, who is Michael Salisbury, has given a foul there by Liam Palmer, the Wednesday captain, in the absence of Barry Banham, and it will be a free kick to Newcastle United, who have had such a good season in the Premier League but make a lot of changes today. Eddie Howe has really done a terrific job keeping the team up first and foremost last year, and then building on it this season. I think already a lot of people are hoping that when Gareth Southgate does depart, that maybe Eddie Howe would fancy the England job, but he may well just fancy taking this one through, because it's really started well for him at Newcastle. As this cross comes in, headed away here by Wednesday to the edge of the box, clip backwards towards halfway. Opportunity maybe to work it down the right hand side. Longstaff will get in there and just hold it up. It's closed down by a Wednesday defender, tries to play a little 1-2 with Manquillo, but it goes behind for a goal kick. And a Wednesday going to have to do this a lot today, Brian, just sort of try and be patient and understand that Newcastle are going to have a lot of the ball. Yes,
I absolutely think that will be the case. I think Newcastle will have a lot of the ball. You know, listen, their team, even though they made the changes, they're all, you know, quality players. When you look at Murphy, who was not so long ago was here on loan, and he was okay, but he's grown into becoming a Premier League player on a regular basis now. So you know, your standards get lifted when you get into the Premier League, because you're playing with better players. So Wednesday will definitely have to have some patience.
Here's the ball to the informed Michael Smith. 4 goals in his last 2 games. He would love a goal tonight as he whips this one in, but it's too high. And maybe a bit of nervous energy as he crossed that one in, and it goes all the way out of play for a throw-in on the far side. He has spoken many times over the last year about his passion for Newcastle United, in particular for Alan Shearer, who actually interviewed Michael Smith before the game in the Wednesday dugout for the BBC. So that was a really nice moment for him. It'll be even nicer if he can nick a goal here, maybe even a winning goal, who knows. Here is Iorfa at the back. He's going to move it to Liam Palmer. Interestingly, it looks like Palmer's playing wing-back rather than Iorfa in this game. Darren Moore has used them both in defence and at wing-back. What do you make of that then, Brian Laws? You know, it's naturally where you would guess both players are more suited, but he has been tempted to play Palmer at the back and Iorfa at wing-back in some games.
Yes, he has. You know, he uses it in different games. I understand that.
Here come Newcastle at the other end. We'll just break off because the multi-million pound signing Alexander Isak is going to have it on the left-hand side. The Swede, big reputation in European football, and he's had a bit of an injury-plagued start at Newcastle. This is a big chance for him to come in and impress. Or is it 60 million, Brian, something like that he cost?
Yeah, which you know, he's reserve player, isn't he? So 60 million.
Yeah, it's a small change, isn't it, really?
It's a small change. Yeah, but going back, I think Iorfa is in his best position there as a centre half, and they'll need his pace as well, because I think Isaac, as you said, he's quite smart and quick.
There's going to be a free kick which Matt Ritchie's going to take from the left, right in front of those Newcastle fans. The Newcastle fans kicking towards Leppings Lane in the first half. Here comes the cross. It's headed into the air and behind for a goal kick, says the referee. Thought he was going to give a corner there, but yeah, the team's changed ends. So Wednesday kicking towards the Kop in the first half, and Newcastle kicking towards their fans in this first period. North stand looks pretty full. Looking down beneath us here in the grandstand, South stand looks full. Kop disappointingly scattered, I would say. Brian, it does not. It's not.
I would say half.
All.
Would you say half full there?
Yeah, it's just the middle section that's busy, isn't it? And the sides are not full at all, which is a bit of a shame.
But it's still a good turnout, I have to say. You know, it is the FA Cup, and it's certainly caught the imagination of a lot of people, particularly Newcastle fans. They think they can win it.
Ball headed over towards the left. Windass will pick it up here. Now a chance for Wednesday to attack. Shot driven in, loops up into the air. It's going to be headed up and away by Newcastle, but free kick given, and it will be a Newcastle ball. We've had 5 minutes, 0-0 between Wednesday and Newcastle. Earlier Sheffield United go through with a win at Millwall. Rotherham out thanks to a defeat against Ipswich. And see what Barnsley can do tomorrow. Chesterfield drawing with West Brom, and that will go to a replay in 10 days' time. Ball switched over towards the left here. Collected by Lewis for Newcastle. Good tackle comes in from Smith, who's going to have to work over towards this side an awful lot today to help out when Newcastle have it in this area. Josh Windass playing up front alongside him. That's a poor throw though, and it's letting Liam Palmer to shoot. Just wide from Liam Palmer, who had a goal taken off him in the last game because it hit Michael Smith on the way into the goal. But that was careless from Newcastle. It let in Palmer, and he may be disappointed there, Brian, that he didn't hit the target.
Yeah, it was a poor throw-in from Lewis of Newcastle, the left-back, who tried to play it into Murphy. He's running towards his own goal, which is bizarre. You know, he's making him run towards his own goal. Palmer's read the script, nicked in front of him, and he's ran into the 18-yard box. He just needed... I mean, he struck the ball really well, but what he needed is just to hit it on the outside of his foot, so it had a little bit of a curl to go into the bottom corner. But again, he was very much switched on, giving himself a great chance.
Here come Wednesday with possession. Worked for by Volks. Peels for a handball, nothing given. Langstaff, he will move it inside here towards Lewis. Lewis has passed towards Isak. He will move it across over towards the right. Newcastle have got an overlap here, and they're trying to hit Wednesday on the counter as the ball will be crossed in. It's looped into the air. It's going to head it towards goal. Big save by Cam Dawson. It was Alexander Isak with a header, and Cam Dawson somehow kept it out and keeps it at 0-0.
Yeah, Mankilo on that right-hand side, he clipped a lovely ball into the centre there, and Isak jumped really well. Dawson saved so superbly well.
Corner taken short. Eventually it is whipped in over the head of the number 6 Lascelles, behind for a goal kick. A let off for Wednesday, but a big save from Cameron Dawson.
Oh, it was a great save from Dawson. He had to really move quickly, because I think the header was literally centre of goal, 6 yards out, so he had to move his feet really quick. Superb reflex save, and cleared off the line by Wednesday's defender.
Here's Palmer. So both teams have had a decent chance now. All headed up. It's 0-0 still. BBC Radio Sheffield, appreciate your company tonight. Here is Windass running through the middle. Windass gets away from a couple of players, slips it over to the left, and Johnson will take on his man, gets into the box, slips it down the line. Flag stays down as Deli Bashiru takes over. Ball crossed in by Reece James, bit too close to the goalkeeper Dubravka, who has just come back from Manchester United, who have signed another goalkeeper. They just churn through, don't they, the keepers, these third keepers. They pick them from everywhere. I've forgotten the name, Brian, of the goalkeeper that Man United have signed. He's well known. He was here on loan many years ago in this patch. It's given away here, picked up by Wednesday. Jack Butland, that was it.
Jack Butland, yes.
It's kicked all the way back to
Henderson's on loan at the Sheffield, at Nottingham Forest, and he's on a year loan, so he couldn't come back.
I think it must be a great job being an experienced goalkeeper who's a backup at another club, and then Manchester United ask you to come and sit on the bench every week for a decent chunk of cash. What a job. Given away here by Iorfa, that's careless. Palmer with a great tackle, and then finished off by Byers sliding in, who's been a revelation since he came back from injury. It's good work from Palmer and Byers, two of Wednesday's better performers. Palmer's had a fantastic season.
Oh, he's absolutely up there at this moment in time. Of probably he's certainly heading the Player of the Year so far.
To be honest, Brian, I'm sure that Barry Bannon will get a few votes, but for me it's not even that close in terms of consistency.
Yeah, he's
added goals. He's just so fit after what he did over the summer with his running, raising money for Jude Jameson, which was great cause. It just feels like he's getting the benefit from that. I just wonder whether he'll say to a few of his teammates, do you fancy doing a 10k every day in June next summer?
Yeah.
Maybe you'll be player of the year.
Well, I'll tell you what, he's come back stronger, and I have to say, his consistency has been amazing, and he's not missed a game.
Ball over towards the left. Mr. Dependable for Wednesday. There's Dele Bashiru. Over to Reece James. Good football from the Owls. Stroked back here towards McGuinness. This could be his last game, of course, for the Owls. It's a little bit curious, actually, that he might head back after this game, but he's allowed to play in the Cup, as this one's chipped over towards the left. It's going to be kept in by Wednesday, but then Newcastle boot it out of play for a throw-in. But at least Wednesday asking a few questions here, 10 minutes in.
Yes, it is. It's an open game. It's very open-ended. Newcastle are going to try to score against their supporters. For Wednesday aren't second best. I think they're matching them all the way at the moment, and they've had a few opportunities going forward.
Well, chipped by Dawson, that's poor. He's just chipped it over towards this near side. It was headed back inside by Elliot Anderson, but Newcastle forced backwards in their change strip of all white. Back now to Martin Dubravka again. He will just put his foot on the ball. Just nudges this one forward to Joe Linton, who's got that shock of blonde hair that many of the Brazilians had during the World Cup. Ended in another quarter-final exit for them. Not that we can say anything, as this one's won back by Sheffield Wednesday. And it will be... Is it going to be a foul? It's not. The referee says play on as the attacker runs past Dawson, who came off his line and out of his area. It's crossed in, and McGuinness will head it clear to avert the danger. So was that a foul first and foremost, Brian Laws? Because if it wasn't, that would have been a controversial goal.
Yeah, I think it would have been a controversial goal. I think it was a foul. He's pushed him in the back, and James has gone down. For me, I thought it was a foul from here, but the referee played on. I think it would have been a very much of a controversial decision. There might have been uproar. Looking for the referee. That actually there was no goal.
Let's see if I can just eye the BBC TV cameras here to see if there's a replay, but not got the best view of it, to be honest. We'll try and... You know what, we've got a stoppage in play here. Liam Palmer's gone down and won a free kick. I can count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 members of the Newcastle media team here today. They could almost field a team themselves. There's that many of them sat in front of us here. They've shifted out all the newspaper writers because they're not important, Brian, and they've put in the Newcastle staff here instead.
Well, let me tell you, it is very tight. I put my hand in my pocket. Well, I thought it was my pocket. It was yours. It's that tight.
Yeah, steady on with that. As this is Newcastle attacking down the left. Good tackle from Iorfa to get the ball away. Out of play for a throw-in. BBC Radio Sheffield, 13 minutes gone. Remains 0-0 here. As this one is kicked up towards halfway. Newcastle will have it. And we'll just take it back into the half. See if I can get a replay of that foul a minute ago. See if we can actually get a good view on what happened here. As it's back with the goalkeeper. And see the replay here. Now, I do think the player just slipped, to be honest, Brian. I think he just slipped over the Wednesday player. This is a bad mistake here, given away, and what a chance that was for Wednesday. And Darren Moore jumps up and down on the spot in frustration that it wasn't finished off by Josh Windass. Again, it's careless from Newcastle, giving the ball away deep inside their own half. A back pass, undersold. Josh Windass was in, and maybe he should have finished it off, Brian.
Well, it was a great opportunity because, as you said, it was a back pass. He nipped in. You can see that it was going back to the keeper. It was short, but his first touch was awful, I have to say. And I'm not sure if he was stretching, so I'll make forgive him for that. But his first touch really let him down. He should have really had a good touch there, and he actually could have walked around the keeper.
Ball down the right-hand side. Here come Newcastle now. It has been quite end-to-end, but Wednesday's chances have been through Newcastle mistakes at the back, and that's got Eddie Howe kneeling down, writing some notes down on a pad, concerned with what his backline have been doing so far. But at the other end, Newcastle have looked threatening. Here's a ball into Isaac, and he's going to flick it behind him, looking for the run down the middle, but it's cleared away by Dominic Iorfa. Out of play for a throw-in. Rain has stopped here at Hillsborough. It was torrential during praise or grumble. little bit weird to do the phone in before a commentary. Don't think I've ever done that before, but good to have your views on. And then took right into this Premier League Newcastle against Sheffield Wednesday on BBC Radio Sheffield, as this one goes backwards into the defence for Newcastle. This time they do find a teammate, and it's Joel Linton who's going to try and turn Volks. Volks stands him up. Joel Linton nudges it through the lines. It goes back towards Joe Linton again. Takes his time, just plays a long ball forward, and it is actually going to break here for Jacob Murphy, but Liam Palmer's there, flags up anyway. So it is a free kick to Sheffield Wednesday.
Look, already, you know, we're seeing a good tie. It's not after 15 minutes. I think it's been very even. It's very open. Both teams are attacking, so I think there's going to be opportunities for both sides.
Ball chipped down the middle, headed away here by Newcastle again. Picked up by the Magpies, who will slip this one forward. Intercepted here by Wednesday nicely in midfield. Byers rises past, just undersold a little bit to Marvin Johnson, but Wednesday put a good tackle in, but then Wednesday give it away again. Joe Linton. Tries have hit him from fans to our left, and there was a tackle from Volks initially, then Byers slid in, took a bit more of the man to go with the ball to the referee's liking, and a free kick given to Newcastle. Brian?
Yeah, I mean, I know what he's saying. I think it's a great tackle, but it's just the manner of it which it was. I think it not dangerous, just very aggressive, and you know, that's Byers showing his intent to say, don't care who you are, Joe Linton, I'm having this ball, and he got the ball and the player. Yeah, but I think the referee just thinks that might have been too excessive.
It's the kind of free kick that maybe 30 years ago they would never even have thought it was a foul, but today in the modern game you invariably see them given, don't you?
If you go to ground now, it's such a risk now. Even with a clean tackle, it's such a risk because the reaction of the player going down makes the tackle look worse than what it really is.
Ball over on the left. Here is Lewis, held up by Delabashiru, and Wednesday really working hard here out of possession, and they're really forcing them backwards, and Michael Smith's got in the way there, and he could easily have won a foul. He's won a throw-in, I think. Michael Smith having a word with the assistant on this near side to say why was that not a free kick, but Wednesday do get the throw-in. And as I was saying there, Brian, you can't fault the work rate from the Wednesday players, can you? They really are closing Newcastle down well.
Yeah, listen, Wednesday should want to be in games like this. We should be inspired by games like this to play against the Premiership side. We should be seeing your best football, we should be seeing your most aggression, because you should be up for it.
Well played across the line by Newcastle. We've got it at the back here. Wednesday just happy to hold position at the minute as Smith running around trying to create a bit of pressure. You can see the pressing is constant from Wednesday, but Newcastle pass it around nicely and break the press, and now they can run forward down this left-hand side. Here is Murphy down the line towards Jamal Lewis. No one has picked him up. Cross comes in towards Joe Linton, cut out by the Owls, and it will be a throw-in. Wednesday players arguing with each other a little bit here, lots of arms aloft and wondering what was the issue there, because Lewis had found himself unmarked in space. That could have been costly, Brian. You can't switch off like that against a Premier League team.
Yeah, when Murphy was starting to run at Palmer, you could see Lewis running on the outside, and of course he's created his own space, and Murphy's put him in there. Palmer had no backup, and of course he was left in acres of space there, Lewis, but he couldn't find a Newcastle player, thankfully.
Newcastle again will move it down the left. You can hear their fans singing in St James's Park. There was a cauldron of atmosphere. I remember going there on I think it was a Boxing Day, to watch Sheffield Wednesday win a few years ago in the league, in the Championship, in the Carlos Carvalhal days. And it is a great arena to watch sport. This place isn't too bad either when it's rocking. Good atmosphere here tonight. Intercepted by Delabashiru. Joe Linton goes backwards into midfield, given away by Newcastle. They force Palmer to play it though, because Lewis is there. Palmer plays it off his shins. Now to play for a throw-in. The Wednesday man is still in conversation with Dominic Iorfa, trying to work out how that player Lewis on this left-hand side had got into all of that space. 20 minutes gone. Wednesday 0, Newcastle 0. Couple of chances for the Owls through Palmer and Windass. Isaacs had a header well saved by Cam Dawson at the other end. This one headed forward by Newcastle, whipped away by Volks. Windass will chase. Kicked backwards by Lascelles to the keeper. And Dubravka will kick that one out and play for a throw-in. Again, that Wednesday press is working.
Yeah, good pressure from Windass there, closing the Dubravka. He was really stuck with the ball at his feet.
Iorfa's been fouled here. It's rather fortunate because Jacob Murphy has fouled him, the former Wednesday man. Because Wednesday were in a tight spot there. I was on BBC Radio Newcastle last night, and they asked me, does Sheffield Wednesday like to play it out from the back? And I said, oh yes. And they all laughed, and I said, you haven't lived until you've seen League One teams try and play it out from the back every week.
Well, that's it. I mean, it's interesting that teams are trying to insist on playing from the back when they can't do it.
Funnily enough, when they've actually played it up towards Smith in this game so far, Brian, it's worked. It's stuck. There's a Wednesday man down here. I think it might be Will Volks who's gone down.
Yeah, he's took a little bit of a knock on the ankle.
He's crumpled up at the minute, isn't he? And seems to be in some discomfort. But physio has not been signalled on yet, which makes me wonder if it's just been kicked. It's just a bit. So he's actually saying it was an elbow there to the referees. I think he may be thinking he's got caught higher up, because he definitely motioned an elbow to the referee Michael Salisbury. But he's okay. He's going to continue.
I don't think we are. Well, I certainly didn't say anything of that description, but we're a bit of a distance away.
Darren Moore looking on. People have questioned Darren Moore at times this year, and his decisions, his team selections, sometimes his tactics and the performances, but tell you what, he's absolutely desperate to succeed for Wednesday. We'll come back to this point in a minute, because Joe Linton's striding forward. He's got a man over on the right hand side. Chance to go on the outside here for Newcastle. He's taken it too far. Reece James kicks it out of play. You could see before kick-off, and Darren Moore was joining in with hi-ho silver lining, and when you listen to him speak, and that is in the press conferences and privately, he speaks with a lot of passion about how determined he is to turn this club around. And you've been in that position, Brian, haven't you?
Yes.
Sort of in that same mentality, that same mindset, wanting to do it, having so much passion for the job. And I suppose you always kind of wonder, is it going to happen next? You know, is this the period when maybe Wednesday can get it moving?
Well, I was trying to do it when I had no money. Darren's very fortunate that he has some money, and he's got a chairman backing him, you know, to his every whim. But the expectations more so will be on Darren's shoulders more than it was on mine, because it's imperative that Wednesday get out of this division and get back into the Championship, and they'll not have a better chance. If they don't achieve it this year, it'll be deemed as a failure.
Yeah, absolutely.
They should be top two for sure, and they're in that position now. It's for theirs to give away.
Even playoffs would have to be viewed as something of a failure. The good news today is Plymouth drew with Bolton 0-0 in the league. Plymouth had a man sent off in the 97th minute there, so Plymouth up to 57 points, 5 ahead of Wednesday, but Wednesday with a game in hand. Plymouth not involved in the FA Cup after they were battered by Grimsby Town, of all teams. One of your other former clubs there, Brian.
Yeah.
A good result. Absolutely hammered Plymouth in the Cup.
Well, again, I do believe that Plymouth made a lot of changes on that day. Again, nearly 10 changes. So, you know, sometimes when your team's playing so well and you make that many changes, it just derails you a little bit. And I think Grimsby caught them on a good day. I should have said on a bad day.
Bad day. Newcastle with a free kick, take it quickly in midfield, move it over towards that right hand side. Joe Linton makes a run. Eventually it's slipped through here, and an opportunity for Isaac to shoot, and it's saved by Dawson again, who has been his nemesis. It's another good save from Dawson, who has looked very comfortable since coming back into the Wednesday team.
He has, hasn't he? I mean, that's another save. Stood his ground, didn't make a dive. Isaac was pulling the trigger low and hard. He looks lively, doesn't he? Striker. First time I've really seen him.
He's a player who people have known about for a long, long time, and been excited to see him, and wants to see what he's like when he gets fit in the Premier League. Headed away. He's been linked with major moves. Having played in Spain with Real Sociedad. It's over here on this left-hand side for Elliot Anderson. He will turn away from his man, slip backwards towards Sven Botman. Now here's Anderson again into the box for Isak. He tries to touch it off, cleared into the air by Sheffield Wednesday, brought down by Reece James, kicked up towards halfway, headed down, then booted back over halfway, and Newcastle forced all the way backwards, and all they can do is hook this one down the line. They've actually kept possession. No, they haven't. It's gone out of play for a throw-in. Might even be a handball. It's one or the other. It's Wednesday's possession either way. It is a handball for a free kick. Wednesday take it quickly and short. Had 25 minutes of the first half, 0-0 between the Owls of League One and Newcastle of the Premier League, as Dawson's kick goes out of play. Thrown backwards here by Jamal Lewis, collected by Sven Botman deep inside his own half. Newcastle just reorganise as Botman plays a square ball to Lascelles, and over towards that right hand side, still deep inside the Newcastle half. Back to Lascelles, the captain. Joe Linton drops deep once more, under a bit of pressure here, has to nudge it back into the Newcastle box. Windass closing down, just chipped and dinked towards this left hand side now, but Liam Palmer's there, just working so hard to get back into position. And it just seems like such a simple thing to say, and I don't want to flog a dead horse here, Brian, but his fitness levels, he just looks like a completely different player when you're able to chase back like that, and you're just quicker than everybody else because you're so fit. It does make a difference, doesn't it? Yeah, I mean, listen, the modern day pre-seasons are all about having the ball, but good old-fashioned running around. The olden days where you'd be running miles and miles, you know, and doing all sorts of marathons, you know, run, you know, touch the ball. In fact, I had a pre-season once where first 3 weeks I'd never seen a ball. It was just all about running and getting your fitness levels, and I think it's the old-fashioned way, and his lung capacity has certainly expanded. It's a corner here to Newcastle, so he's going to have to join in the other 10 players defending this. Every player back for Wednesday for this corner, front of Leppin's Lane. 27 minutes on the clock exactly, as this corner is going to be whipped in left-footed from the right-hand side. It's going to be Dominic Iorfa to head clear. Windass is going to chase and press here and try and force Newcastle back. Goes all the way back to the keeper, Dubravka. He plays it short over towards his near side in Jamal Lewis. Lewis into the defence. Now Botman under pressure. Byers gets a toe in, but can only kick it forward to a Newcastle man. Joe Linton all the way back to the keeper. Dubravka takes a touch. Windass puts him under a bit of pressure. It's cleared. Headed down here, Byers. Byers' pass intercepted. Longstaff and Anderson battling. Newcastle get it here with Jamal Lewis. Now Anderson again. Goes down and fouled by Liam Palmer, according to the referee. And Liam Palmer getting a bit of a push in the back there from Sven Botman as he ran through. What do you think? Wednesday fans not happy with the decision, Brian, but was it a foul?
Again, the one game has stopped all these little, you know, aggressive tackles and fouls. Well, call it a foul or a push. He's used his upper body and pushed him to one side, and he's been punished for it.
There seemed to be a directive at the start of the season that refs should let more things go. That seems to have gone by the wayside as this cross comes in. Here's an opportunity for Newcastle, completely mishit and looped over the bar by Matt Ritchie, who arrived late to the edge of the box but just ballooned his shot into the air. No danger there to Cam Dawson. It lands on the roof of the net. Just watching the replay, it's a good run. Yeah, brilliant run into the box, hit it completely,
and the ball come back. He tried to side foot it, and I think it just bobbled up just before he was meant to hit the ball, and unfortunately it went over the top for him, but obviously a side relief for Sheffield Wednesday.
Well, half an hour gone. Wednesday were going to take the goal kick short, but then they opt against it, and they're going to hit it long instead through Cam Dawson. A bright pink strip. It's like Cam Dawson looks like a pink highlighter pen, and Martin Dubrovka looks like an orange one at the other end of the pitch. You're not missing them in the night here in Sheffield. Iorfa pressing, but he's pressing very high up the pitch, and he may leave a gap there. He's got to be careful as this one's hit up towards Isak, who will cut in from the right-hand side for Newcastle, but well read there by Marvin Johnson to get back, put a tackle in. Wednesday have it, rolled out quickly to Byers. Byers forced back to Cam Dawson. Dawson will chip the ball over to Liam Palmer. Good football from Wednesday. Moved over towards Michael Smith. Smith holds it up. Does well, finds Josh Windass. This is excellent from the Owls. Windass will hold on to it, tries to get the return back to Michael Smith, who's fouled his man.
Sorry, I'm laughing. Smith there, who's just clattered in the back of Batman, he just dropped like a plank. It was comical, trying to get his free kick. Very theatrical, but it was a foul, but it was very theatrical.
Michael Smith just laughed in his face when he eventually got back to his feet. Quite amusing, but I think, as Brian said, it was definitely a foul. Here's the ball down the right. This is a good run here. There's a chance for Newcastle. Wednesday had been caught napping, but the ball pulled back, intercepted by Mark McGuinness, who has been a Rolls Royce at the back for Wednesday. That's a good ball forward. It almost went through towards Windass in the long pass. Joe Linton keeps this one in. Good control from him. He's done well there. Moves it into the midfield. Now here's Anderson. Lewis, left-hand side. Murphy. Had such a productive loan spell here. There were hopes for Wednesday that they might be able to keep hold of him, but he's just gone from strength to strength, having gone back to Newcastle, and Wednesday sadly went the other way. Here's Isak. Loses out to McGuinness. And it's a nice play from Byers, and then McGuinness tries to tow it forward, but Wednesday get a foul. Go their way this time. Free kick to Wednesday. He is going to be a massive miss, isn't he, when he goes back to Cardiff, Mark McGuinness, after this game?
Yeah, I'm surprised he's here. He's here still for this game. Yeah, for this game, to be fair.
Well, but I'm surprised Brian is here at all, because Cardiff are struggling in the Championship, and when you watch him play, you think, are they really that good at the back?
Yeah. I mean, he's obviously been cup-tied anyway, so they've just said, well, you might as well stay here because you've played in the other round.
That's correct, yeah.
So he can't go back to Cardiff and play in their game, so that's why he's probably extended it just for this one game.
You just think that why would you risk him getting injured, though, if you're going to pull him back anyway? You know, why would you do that if you're Cardiff? You'd probably say, look, let's have him back. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens. Darren Moore still said there's a conversation to be had, but I think everybody knows the writing's on the wall there as this one goes backwards.
I mean, he's still got a number of choices as well, Darren Moore. But yeah, he's been a very, very steady, influential centre-half.
Poor header here, but then McGuinness steps in and uses his strength to win it back. The thing about McGuinness is he's still very young. He looks a lot older than he is. He's still in his early 20s. Still room to grow. Dele Bashiru almost got in front of Joe Linton there. Couldn't come away with possession. 33 gone, 0-0. BBC Radio Sheffield, Rob Staten and Brian Laws with you here at Hillsborough. Other games in the FA Cup: Luton 1, Wigan 1, Grimsby 0, Burton 0, Coventry 1, Wrexham 3. How about that for a score? And Brentford 0, West Ham 0. So Wrexham of the National League 3-1 up at Coventry. It's amazing what a bit of money can do, isn't it?
That's incredible.
Ball down the line. There's an offside flag here up against, it's Dele Bashiru, isn't it, on the far side?
You look at the National League, and Chesterfield are doing well there and getting fantastic crowds. Notts County getting 9,000, and Wrexham 12,000 crowds. The National League is a really, really strong league.
So if you transplanted those three teams into the League Two and let them play in that division, I bet they'd be near the top.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Then again, Stockport, we all kind of thought they were going to go up and up and up, and it's been a little trickier than that for them. We'll kick backwards here into the penalty area for Newcastle. Dubravka. Now Lewis. Botman getting the boos from the Wednesday fans after that dramatic fall we were talking about a moment ago. Here's Reece James, who's definitely staying with Sheffield Wednesday on loan from Blackpool. He's had a good loan spell. Now here is Anderson. Over towards the right side. Kick backwards here towards Sean Longstaff, and he will get this one out of his feet. Play it backwards here to Botman. Joe Linton, intercepted by Iorfa, who read that one well. Bit of a lazy pass from Joe Linton. Ball played forward. Now Windass was offside, but Delibashiru isn't, and he almost got there. Lascelles was scrambling. Delibashiru had the beating of him for pace, and a last gasp tackle from Lascelles prevents Delibashiru having a run through on goal, Brian Laws.
Yes, it was. I mean, Iorfa put the ball through. Mainly he aimed for Windass, but Windass was offside and knew it, so he just let it go. But thankfully, Bashiru, he read the script, and it was a foot race between him and Lascelles. And Lascelles just got there, I have to say.
Here's Iorfa again, who takes over once more. This time he plays it backwards to Reece James. There's a safe pass, and James up towards Johnson. James again. Back to Cam Dawson. A couple of good saves from him in this half. Volks. McGuinness. It's on his own penalty area. Volks again. When's he trying to beat the press here? Iorfa. He'll lift it forward over halfway. Kick down straight to Smith. Windass. Volks. Good football from Wednesday. Now here's Michael Smith. Needs a man in the middle. Smith will have to hold it up. Digs out a cross, but it's blocked. And then he plays it off the shins of the defender. Throw in for Sheffield Wednesday.
That's a shame, yeah. Smith, the ball's played out to him wide, but there was nobody in the box, so he had to really check back out again. In the end, he's won himself a little throw in, but he really couldn't take advantage of that little moment.
Here's Iorfa. Iorfa down the line here to Volks, onside. Gets his cross in, it's a dangerous one! It's come off a defender and behind for a corner.
What a ball from Volks. On his right-hand side, the ball's played into him by Iorfa. Volks got out his feet straight away and bent in a beautiful cross into the 6-yard box. With the Newcastle centre-halves running towards the goal, they're fully stretched out and got a toe end to it. It could have even been an own goal.
Could have got anywhere then. I think it was
absolutely. What a dangerous cross that was. Superb.
Corner taken short. Eventually it's lifted in from deep. Headed down and just about cleared. Kicked up into the air. Bounces down. And Iorfa tries to go for it. Iorfa will almost get there. Good tackle comes in though. I think it was from Anderson. And now at the other end, here's the counter-attack for Newcastle. Wednesday have been caught out. Liam Palmer's the last man standing. Is he done enough? Well, certainly the cover has done enough of Marvin Johnson getting back there to help out.
Yeah, it was good. It was good play by both Palmer and Johnson. To be fair, Palmer slowed him down. Slowed the striker down into the edge of your box, and there was Johnson who continued and nipped the ball off his feet.
Jacob Murphy almost looked a little bit guilty for running forward there, Brian. Like he didn't want to. There was no killer instinct in him, was there? He didn't really seem to be wanting to take Liam Palmer on there. He was kind of just jogging forward.
Yeah, he was almost. It's almost like he was waiting for something.
Here's Isaac. Bit of a let-off for Wednesday, that, but I guess that's the price you have to pay if you're going to have a bit of a go, isn't it? You might get caught a few times. You've got to get back. Here's a free kick as Isaac goes down. But it has been an entertaining first half, no goals.
Listen, the game has flown by. 37 minutes in, and in it, you can't take your eyes off it. It's been end to end. There's been a smuttering of chances, and it's been worthy of a good cup tie, very much so.
This is why the FA Cup still has something about it.
It's got a bit of magic in it for sure.
Yeah, it's just a bit different, isn't it? It's to see Newcastle come here and see a Premier League team play and have a very good competitive game, both teams playing well. Here comes that free kick for Newcastle. Ritchie crosses it in, headed away by Iorfa. Good header from Dominic Iorfa, who's not had a great year, to be honest, but he's done well there. Now there's a foul given against Wednesday right on the edge of the box.
Yeah, Volks has jumped in the air, and he's surmised it. He's suggesting that he's got a little nudge in the back. His arms went up, and in the end he handled the ball.
He did hit him on the arm.
Yeah. The referees give a free kick in a dangerous spot.
Just for the replay, he hung in the air. Wednesday might argue, well, was he fouled? But I mean, that'd have been soft for a foul, because Volks didn't really time the jump, and although he connected with the Newcastle defender, I think he almost instigated that, and then it just hit him on the arm.
Yeah, it was almost like he's trying to get himself out of trouble by claiming a free kick. So he mistimed his head. He's mistimed his jump. That's why his arms were still in the air.
Well, this is dangerous. Alexander Isak is standing over it. Not Richie standing over it, but it's there for Isak to hit, and he will, well, you give him the big build-up, Brian, you call him a £60 million player, and he does something that I could have done and just rolled it side-footed straight into the wall.
Well, £60 million player looked like a £6 player. That was a terrible free kick.
Here is Smith. Smith will win a throw-in. He's worked hard with little reward so far, Michael Smith. It's going to be one of those kind of nights for him where he's going to have to chase and harass, get his body in the way. Might have a few bruises tonight, but it's going to be that type of game. He won't mind playing his boyhood club. Ball switched forward here by Newcastle. Player goes down, and as that was won back, Volks was going for the 60-yard shot there, which he has actually scored a goal like that in his career. He hit it nicely enough. It's just straight at the keeper though. And it will be a free kick to Newcastle anyway. Richie looks like he's going to take this one, wearing number 11. Rain gratefully held off, not impacted this game at all since kick-off, because it was teaming it down earlier. Quite a pleasant, mild evening in January in Sheffield tonight. This one's going to be chipped forward into the penalty area. Wednesday get up, head it clear, headed backwards towards halfway, forward again. Iorfa gets, there's a couple of players got in the way of each other there. McGuinness, James and Iorfa all seem to jump for the same ball, but eventually Wednesday clear up towards halfway, all the way back to Dubravka, the keeper. He plays it over towards Lewis, wearing 12. Now Botman still getting a few boos from the Kop. It's a poor pass from Newcastle there, almost lets Volks in, and he loves a tackle as well. Volks, he goes sliding in, wins the ball, out to play for a throw-in. Newcastle will play it through the middle again. There's just a bit of space here at the moment, as maybe there's a few tired legs out there as we get up towards half-time. Nice little inside pass from Joe Linton. Dominic Iorfa's there. Joe Linton works it round the corner. Murphy to Joe Linton again, wearing number 7. Just kind of sticks his foot through it, and cleared by Wednesday and James. All the way through to the goalkeeper Dubravka again. It's
amazing transition that Joe Linton in 12 months has gone from an absolute flop of a striker to an absolutely sensational midfield player.
Yeah.
But just shows you, sometimes you know, he's made his name as a striker, yet he's even better as a midfield player. He's certainly got energy. I don't think he's got pace, and I think that's what let him down in the Premier League. You need pace as well to be a top striker. And I think
do you think that's the problem with a lot of the players who come up from Germany? Maybe as we look here, as Liam Palmer's got into a great position, crosses it in, and we've seen so many players excel for German clubs, and then they come to the Premier League, don't they? And Joe Linton's a good case. I guess you could say Timo Werner, Jadon Sancho, and it just hasn't worked for them, has it?
But the thing is that, you know, great credit to Eddie Howe is that he's seen something in training. He went, do you know what, I'm going to try him in midfield here. I think he's got the attributes to be a midfield player, and he's just been a revelation for Newcastle. And he's probably been the catalyst.
There's a good ball over the top. Murphy against his old club, runs through, slips it over the head of Dawson, but the shot is going wide. Iorfa's tried to shield it behind for a goal kick and has made a dog's dinner of that, and it allows Newcastle to get the ball back. And now an opportunity for the away team to take the lead if they can get a cross in here. Good defending from Iorfa in recovery. I have no idea what he was doing initially there, trying to shield that one out. He should have just stuck that one in rosette. Now here's Joe Linton with the cross. It's a great one, and just enough there from Liam Palmer to get his body in the way to prevent the Newcastle attacker getting on the end of that one.
Do you know what, there's a little bit of good play here from Dawson. Even though he got chipped, he's made Murphy make a decision, and he's had to chip it over him, which has allowed Iorfa to get back. So even though it might look rash, it was a really good decision for him to come out so quickly and make that early decision from Murphy, which obviously was a wrong one. Iorfa got back, covered him.
Goal kick taken from Dawson. Flicked on, and Windass trying to make a run here. Palmer battling. Good tackle comes in from Iorfa. Iorfa's tackling's been fine. It's been good today. Here is Windass. It's that positional sense sometimes that has let him down. As Windass goes down, no free kick given. We're going to see the electronic board. It's a big relief that that's a big mistake there from McGuinness, and it's let Alexander Isak in, but he's just overrun the ball himself, and it allows Wednesday to get back. Bit of a let-off there. 1 minute of stoppage time. I was going to say the electronic boards actually have a back now. In the FA Cup, it used to just read on the front, so the press couldn't actually see how much added on time there was most of the time. Don't know whose brainwave that was. As Joe Linton comes forward. It's tackle, but it's actually worked out for Newcastle. Another good tackle comes in. So Wednesday's tackling's been really solid today.
Yeah,
for a penalty
solid
there as one of the Newcastle players fell over one of the Wednesday players, but it was off the ball and it looked like a collision. Then Dele Bashiru is unable to come away with the ball, and actually there's a Newcastle man who's gone down here off the ball, and the ref's got a yellow card out for Dele Bashiru.
Yeah, I think Manquella, who's ran back to chase after him to take the ball off Bashiru, which he did with a sliding challenge, and then for some reason Bashiru really kicked out in anger a little bit, caught his ankle.
Got the replay here, yep.
A little bit late.
Yeah, justified yellow card.
Yeah, and the referee's giving me a yellow card for that.
He stood on his toe a little bit. There's half-time, entertaining first half here. Open game, no goals, but you always kind of feel like there is a chance that will be some, and that this could be decided on the night. But Sheffield Wednesday have worked hard, they've put in a shift, as they say. They've had a couple of chances themselves, Brian Laws, and they can be happy with that first half.
Yeah, I think so. I think, listen, when you're looking at it as a neutral, you would say that there's two even sides out there. They both give as much as each other. You know, we've had a couple of good chances ourselves with Palmer and Windass, who really had a chance to put the ball in the back of the net. And I think Newcastle have had the same amount of chances as well. So it's been a very, very open game, very entertaining game. But certainly it's a game that you know, Sheffield Wednesday can be pleased with in that first half period, for sure. What they've got to do is just try and repeat that in that second half, because the chances will come if they keep playing. They keep, you know, they've worked so hard as individually and collectively. They've put a really good shift in against a Newcastle side who are comfortable on the ball. Yet, you know, they've equalled them all over the park, and whenever there's been a challenge, you know, Wednesday have been first in there. So yeah, some good little challenges going around, some good little contests going on in the middle of the park. And I think Darren will be very satisfied with his team's performance.
I suspect Wednesday, Brian, will have a moment in the second half. You know, they've had a couple of chances through mistakes from Newcastle. Liam Palmer shooting wide, Josh Windass nudging wide, two good chances in the end. There was that cross that was deflected behind by Sven Botman that could have gone anywhere. It feels like Wednesday will have a chance in the game, and it might come down to whether or not they can take it, whether they're going to get either a replay or win from this game. But they're not going to have many chances, but when it comes, can they grasp it?
Yeah, I mean, listen, you know, you've had, what, 2 or 3 chances in the first half. It might be exactly the same, but you have to take your chances when they come. And that's what good teams do. You know, they don't need many chances, and they'll stick the ball in the back of the net. I think if you give Newcastle a couple of chances, I think they'll take it. Wednesday they've defended really, really well against Newcastle's chances. They've not had anything clear-cut as yet. But I think if they had a clear-cut one, I think they might take it. So it's down to Wednesday, really. Can they find that opportunity and that clinical finish required to win a game?
Half-time here then at Hillsborough. A decent first half in the FA Cup third round. It is Sheffield Wednesday 0, Newcastle 0. Let's head back to the studio now, and to take you through to half-time, here is Joseph Hadfield.
Yeah, cheers, Rob. And fantastic stuff so far for Sheffield Wednesday, holding their own against Premier League Newcastle United 0-0. We'll be back to Rob and Brian for second half commentary of that very shortly. Just bringing you up to date with the latest scores in the FA Cup. the 5:30 kickoffs. Brentford 0, West Ham 0, nearly played an hour in that one. Coventry City 1, Wrexham 3. Wrexham of the National League, three goals in the first half there. So the non-league side on for an upset there. Grimsby Town 0, Burton Albion 0, an hour played in that as well. Luton Town 1, Wigan Athletic 1. And as we've heard, it is half-time between Sheffield Wednesday and Newcastle United. Liverpool against Wolves, the all-Premier League affair. That is an 8 o'clock kickoff this evening. Just to run you through all the rest of the results from today. Crystal Palace 1, Southampton 2. Forest Green against Birmingham, that was postponed due to a waterlogged pitch. Gillingham 0, Leicester 1. Preston 3, Huddersfield 1. Reading 2, Watford 0. Spurs 1, Portsmouth 0. Blackpool 4, Premier League Nottingham Forest 1. So an upset there. Bournemouth 1, Accrington Stanley 1. AFC Bournemouth 2, Burnley 4. We've heard earlier on that amazing game, the heartbreak for Chesterfield conceding in the 93rd minute, 3-3 at the Technique against West Brom. Fleetwood 2, QPR 1. Hull City 0, Fulham 2. We've heard on DAB and Freeview this afternoon, Ipswich 4, Rotherham United 1, Middlesbrough 1, Brighton 5, Millwall 0, Sheffield United 2, as we heard on FM, Shrewsbury 1, Sunderland scoring 2 in the added time at the end of the match. They won that game by 2-1. Let's get some reaction from all of today's games. I will just bring it on to League 1 and 2 before we do get reaction. Bolton 0, Plymouth Argyle 0, Cambridge United 1, Bristol Rovers 2, Charlton 2, Lincoln City 1, Morecambe 2, Cheltenham 1, League 2, Salford City 2, Northampton 1, Crewe 0, AFC Wimbledon 0, Harrogate 1, Colchester 3, Mansfield 2, Barrow 3, Rochdale 1, Newport County 1, Tranmere Rovers 2, Sutton United 2 in League 2. And the one I haven't mentioned, because we're going to come to it right now, is Doncaster Rovers. They were defeated 1-0 away at league leaders Leyton Orient. After the game, the boss, Danny Schofield, he's been speaking to Matt Messiano.
Danny, what was your assessment of that game?
I thought first half there were lots of positives to our performance. I thought we implemented the way we wanted to play the game, caused Leyton Orient problems, created chances, but with no shots on target was disappointing. And then in the second half, I thought, credit to us, they changed it. They went more man for man, became a man for man game. We had a lot of pressure early in that second half. We withstood lots of it, but disappointing that we didn't actually sort of manage that game in terms of getting the ball higher up the pitch. When we won it, it was sort of attack after attack, but again without them creating any clear-cut chances. I thought we defended the box very well. To concede the goal from the distance we did and the manner we did was disappointing, but yeah, overall that's my assessment.
Yeah, sometimes it's difficult to argue against a goal like that. It was I suppose it was worthy of winning the game just because the quality was so good.
Not for me, no. I think we could have done things to defend that goal a bit better. I think we should have defended it better to score from that distance. It shouldn't happen.
Not too many shots on target. The second half in particular, what was your opinion of that?
Yeah, I think the stats were pretty even throughout the game in terms of shots and shots on goal. It's an area that I knew coming into the role would be probably a focus that takes more time than anything else. We need to really sort of address that. We need to create better chances. We need to have more dynamic movements in the final third to create better opportunities.
Tell us a little bit about some of the positives that you found from that game and how you can exploit that going forward.
I think overall the effort and the application of the players was outstanding. I thought they fought for each other, which I asked for. They fought for the football club. They wanted to really win a football game, and coming away to a team who are top of the league is always going to be a challenge, but we stood up to that, and I think credit to the players in terms of their character and their togetherness. I think that's the biggest thing I took out of the game.
Now you move on to Crawley.
Yeah, so we travel home now. We'll suffer a little bit on the coach, and I'll suffer Sunday and probably Monday and probably Tuesday. But no, we'll reflect really quickly on it and move on to Crawley and go down in a positive manner. We'll prepare as we always do, as we do every game, and go down there with confidence and prepare to win 3 points.
We're in January now of 2023. What's your assessment so far of the whole season for Doncaster and where you are currently and where you'd like to be?
Yeah, well, I've only been here for, I think that's my 11th league game, so I can only really speak and comment on that. And I've seen lots of development in the players. I've seen them buying into what we're trying to do. Sometimes the performance at a really good level. Other times it's dipped, but that's what football is. It's always aiming for consistency. We've got a fantastic group of players and staff who are buying into what we're trying to do, and we'll continue working that way.
So there's boss Danny Schofield, Doncaster Rovers boss Danny Schofield there, speaking to Matt Messiano after the 1-0 defeat away at League Two leaders Leyton Orient this afternoon. Full interviews from all our local sides every single week. Reaction and preview material online. You can find it on the internet. Just search Football Heaven or go to our Twitter page at Football Heaven. Wrexham, non-league Wrexham, we said they were doing well, even better now. Coventry down to 10 men, and Paul Mullin has scored the following penalty. So 4-1 to non-league Wrexham. They are well on their way to the fourth round of the FA Cup. And Sheffield Wednesday fans, second half commentary to come from your game against Premier League Newcastle. That's on the way shortly. And make sure you stick with BBC Radio Sheffield and Football Heaven, because on Tuesday night we've got Football Heaven as well, but we've also got a special with a massive Sheffield Wednesday fan.
Sport Heaven and BBC Introducing present A Night with Reverend.
There is a lot of crossover between our fans and Sheffield Wednesday fans, so yeah, it's a big part of my life, it really is.
I'm Adam Oxley, and I'll be teaming up with Christian Carlisle to talk all things football and music with Reverend and the Makers frontman John McClure.
I did have a brief flirtation in my formative years at Everton because my granddad's brother played for him, but realistically it's always going to be Wednesday.
Reverend Heaven.
My nan danced with the players in the 30s. She was a wag before wags were a thing.
Tuesday nights from 6
Having players and manager into music, what a buzz.
on BBC Radio Sheffield.
Yeah, make sure you check that out. Reverend Heaven coming up on Tuesday night. We were mentioning that heartbreak for Chesterfield at home against West Bromwich Albion in the third round of the FA Cup this afternoon. A crazy game at the Technique Stadium. We heard earlier on from assistant boss Danny Webb. Let's hear from the scorer of a brace this afternoon, Armando Dobra. 2 goals for him. He just loves to score for Chesterfield in the FA Cup. Done it in every round so far this season. Let's hear a bit from him. He's been speaking to Paul Fisher.
Well, you seem to have a bit of a love affair with this competition so far, don't you? You must be absolutely delighted, but gutted at the same time. You've got to do it all over again.
Yeah, I thought we played really well today, but it was just disappointing to see so late on. I thought we deserved the win today. I thought we pressed them well. The gaffer set us out to go toe to toe with them, and I thought we performed really well today.
Were you a little bit nervous when they went 1 up after 90 seconds?
I think there's a bit of nerves obviously before the game, but I thought we dealt with it well. I always thought that we'd come back. Like we've got a good group today. And obviously the fans as well supporting us. They're always going to support us today, and I thought they supported us really well.
Yeah, just a word on the atmosphere. You must have been absolutely delighted with it. I mean, it was great, wasn't it?
Yeah, the fans are unbelievable. I thought we deserved the win today, but just unfortunately they scored so late on.
You're running the competition, 5 goals in now 4 games. Just talk us through your goals today, in actual fact.
I think the first goal, it was good play on the right hand side, and then Mandy's pulled it back, and I literally got a tap in. I think it's a hard finish, but I made it, I think, look a bit easy. And the second one, I've seen Quiggs, he's made an unbelievable run, and then he's had a shot and the keeper spilt it, and I've just put it in. Yeah.
I mean, I think that all your Chesterfield home games have been in that goal there. When are you going to put one in front of the south stand?
You know, it's funny that I was thinking that last night. I was thinking I've scored all my goals. I've scored here. I haven't scored down there, but I'll take them. A goal's a goal. So yeah, I'm happy.
Have you played at the Hawthorns before?
No, I've never played at the Hawthorns. It'll be good. The fans will be there supporting us, and hopefully we'll put on a show for them.
At least I suppose you're in the draw for the next round, even though you won't obviously be confirmed for a little bit. But you've got to do it all again on Tuesday at Wilson, haven't you?
Yeah, I think that's more important than the competition. I know this competition is like we'd love to get as far as possible, but the most important thing is to try and get to the EFL, and I think that's the most important thing for us.
Every time you've been asked a question so far in this competition by 2 League Two sides, even another non-league side as well, Championship side today, Chesterfield have come out with answers, haven't they?
I think we've got quality all around the squad. The whole team's really good, and just really I'm gutted that we've conceded so late today.
Yeah, there's a smile on your face, but I know that deep down it means a bit of difficulty, doesn't it?
Yeah, but what can we do? We've tried our best, and we'll go again Tuesday.
So Chesterfield having to go for a replay at the Hawthorns in 10 days' time. Fantastic atmosphere that should be, and fingers crossed that Chesterfield can get through to the 4th round of the FA Cup. More FA Cup action on the way tomorrow as well. We're back from midday for live coverage and live build-up towards Derby County against Barnsley. Rob will be doing the live commentary for you there. So busy weekend for Rob. Fingers crossed that Sheffield Wednesday can get through and beat Newcastle to the 4th round. We will be heading back to Hillsborough very shortly. Before we do, we are about ready to head back to Hillsborough. So let's get back for second half commentary of Sheffield Wednesday against Newcastle United in the 3rd round of the FA Cup. Your commentators are Brian Laws and Rob Staten.
Thanks a lot, Joseph. Yeah, back at Hillsborough here. Team's yet to come out for the second half, but will be due imminently. Sheffield Wednesday holding Newcastle goalless at half-time. Ati Nuhiu has just been welcomed out to do the half-time draw. He's back at Hillsborough today. Had many memories of Ati Nuhiu's time at Hillsborough, Brian Laws. In fact, as I was walking into the ground, there was a couple of blokes stood behind me who were talking about the fact that Ati Nuhiu was back at Hillsborough today, and one of them was saying, hey, can you remember when he did that interview live on the radio where he said, I'm not the type of player to go home and say, and then he used the F word. And I can remember that very fondly down in the basement here at Hillsborough when we used to do Praise or Grumble live in that little room. Hopefully he didn't use any language like that when he was doing the half-time draw.
No, but he was certainly a fan's favourite with some, and some didn't like him. But the one thing I tell you what, they've taken back in this league for sure.
Well, there's a change at half-time here for Newcastle, and Alexander Isak's has come off, and Chris Wood has come on, or as the team sheet calls him, Christopher Wood, which is it's a very formal team sheet tonight. So Chris Wood coming on for Alexander Isak, and it looks as if Sheffield Wednesday are going to make a change as well, and Deli Bashiru is coming off, and Dennis Adeniran is coming on for Sheffield Wednesday. So a change for the Owls as well, with Dennis Adeniran coming on for Deli Bashiru confirmed, and Chris Wood on for Alexander Isak. So Chris Wood up front.
Big strapping striker, isn't he, Chris Wood, who knows what the back of the net is. And do you know what? People criticised Newcastle when they brought him in, but let me tell you, he actually helped them stay up.
What a job he did last season.
Fantastic. You know, if you talk about bringing people in to do a job, he'd done the job, and and kept Newcastle in the Premiership.
A lot of people laughed really when he signed, didn't they? Because obviously the money come in and they're expecting big signings, but that was what Newcastle needed at the time. Sometimes you just need somebody who can help you stay in a league.
He's definitely what the class is a good egg in the dressing room. Gives his all, and he can, he's prepared to be a battering ram for the team.
Dennis Adeniran, who's just returned from injury and has come on, has got a good goal in the cup already against Rochdale earlier in the season. Interesting to see how he gets on today. There's a Newcastle man down punching the turf at the minute and seems to be in a real lot of pain here. I wonder if the ref's going to stop play.
Looks like Richie.
Ball's going to have to play. Darren Moore, the Wednesday manager's pointing over to say, look, just hold up here. Richie in a lot of pain.
I did not see that, I have to say. It looks...
I think it's more histrionics than anything else, because he's gone from being writhing around in pain to complaining and remonstrating at the referee, so...
it's caught him on the... I've just seen... There was no action. He's running towards the ball, and I think it was a Sheffield Wednesday player just caught the back of his heel down his Achilles.
Yeah, you're right. Yep.
And he's fell to the ground. It's a collision that wasn't on purpose. It just come across each other, and I think he's caught him right in his Achilles as well, which with the studs as well. That'll be painful.
what was that game? I think it was last season, Brian, or it may even have been the season before, when there was the player sent off and they were kind of both running. I can't remember what the game was in the Premier League, but it almost collided. He just sort of stood on the other player's leg in his stride, and he got sent off after VAR, and I can't remember what the game was, and it reminds me a little bit like that. There's no VAR or anything here today, is there, to have a look at anything like that?
I mean, the VAR, which has been in use in the FA Cup today, in some cases, but unfortunately not in all the cases. I think for the FA Cup, I don't think they should be using the VAR, because it's not fair on other clubs.
I think it's always strange in this competition when you have half the games having it and half not and stuff like that. I never quite understand what's the use in that. You kind of either had it for everybody, surely, or nobody at all. I think I remember last season, Brian, they had it at Chelsea against Chesterfield, which was never likely to have. You know, my Chesterfield fans may disagree with what happened against Middlesbrough back in the day, but there was never likely to be a deciding moment in that game that needed VAR for. And I think there was another game that there was a contentious decision where they didn't have VAR, and it kind of just highlighted to the point of, you know, having it at certain games and not at others. Surely it should be all for all games, or not for none at all, really. But we'll see. It looks like Newcastle might be forced into another change here. Richie's come off, but
I think he's going to give it a try. But like I said, that's painful, what he's just received there.
So what are they doing here? Newcastle Stafford.
He's limping like hell, but he's sent to the bench. Just give me a minute. Just give me a minute.
And Stafford telling him to get over towards the dugout. I don't know why. I mean, are they planning on taking him off or what? I don't understand why they were arguing with the player there. After all that, he's back on. I think they were trying to give him a note. You know, they were trying to give him a note to take on, and that's why they wanted him to come over. So no note, but Richie back on the pitch. Slightly confusing. 4 minutes gone of the second half. 0-0 between the Owls and Newcastle. FA Cup third round action. Reminder earlier, Sheffield United through with a win at Millwall. Rotherham out with a defeat at Ipswich, which had many Rotherham fans angry on the phone in. West Brom will play Chesterfield at the Hawthorns in a replay after a 3-3 draw at the Technique today. Last gasp equaliser for West Brom. And in the league, Doncaster beaten by Leyton Orient in League 2. Here's Richie. Tomorrow, Derby against Barnsley. Join us for that from midday. Looking forward to that trip. Ball back in the defence with Lascelles. Lascelles will take his time here, just move this one forward. Good tackle comes in though from Michael Smith. Smith just couldn't get the ball out of his feet there. Good tackle from Lascelles, and now hits open up for Newcastle. Here's an opportunity. Slip down the left towards Murphy. What can he do here? Slips it on the outside, played into the middle for Wood. Good tackle comes in from McGuinness, behind for a corner, Brian Law.
Yeah, terrific tackle from McGuinness. Newcastle worked it, a real treat in that last third, little overlaps. He's sprinting down that left-hand side, done a little reverse pass and a square ball to Woods, and McGuinness straight onto the floor with a tackle, last-ditch tackle. Had to be absolutely spot on, of which he was. Give a corner away, but I think Woods would have scored if he hadn't have.
Here comes the corner from the left. Swung in towards Joe Linton, headed away by McGuinness. Good, powerful header. Ball backwards here towards Lewis. Jamal Lewis back over towards that left-hand side. Chance to run here for Newcastle. Moved inside into the middle. Botman plays a 1-2. Sven Botman urged to shoot. Ooh, just wide, left-footed shot from all of 30 yards, and wasn't too far away, Brian.
Yeah, that one bad for a centre half. I have to say, he's carried the ball right 30 yards out. A left foot shot. That one far away. If it was on target, I think it might have been in. It had the pace, for sure.
It wasn't a bad hit at all, was it, from the Newcastle sign from Lille for 37 million euros, Brian.
Peanuts.
A cool sum, 37 million euros. Comes off Joe Linton out of play for a throw-in here to Sheffield Wednesday.
Anybody who in the Premier League who goes for under 30 million is an average. It's just an average buy, isn't it?
30 million's the new 500,000.
Yeah.
Great turn here from George Byers. Absolutely sumptuous that from Byers, the midfielder. And now he'll move it over towards the right. Liam Palmer in towards Adeniran and shot towards goal. And it's Josh Windass who scores for Sheffield Wednesday. And Hillsborough explodes. Wednesday lead against Premier League Newcastle. And it's Josh Windass again. Wednesday 1, Newcastle 0.
Well, look, let's roll that back a good 30 seconds. Byers in the middle of midfield. Sumptuous, as you said, delicious little turn, taking 2 Newcastle players out. He plays the ball wide to Palmer, and he's Palmer's first touch into Adeniran's into his path. He plays it along the floor, and there was Windass to tap it in, deadly, 3 yards out. Great start to the second half. Now then, let's see what Newcastle are all about. Great game.
Fresh off his hat-trick against Cambridge. He gets another one there.
Well, if he wasn't celebrating the goals against Cambridge, he was certainly celebrating that one.
Well, somebody said to me at half-time, Windass has been quiet, and I said, yeah, but he was quiet against Cambridge. He just scored 3 goals, and maybe he would just pop up and get another one. And there he was to finish off that wonderful move from Wednesday, and it was his finishing touch. But you're quite right, Brian, that turn from Byers to launch the whole thing in the first place, absolutely first class.
Yeah, well, it's certainly got the crowd going, that, hasn't it? It's the Wednesday bounce.
The Wednesday fans are bouncing, and it's been a while since Hillsborough's looked like this. We just did a podcast on Owls Heaven talking about how flat this ground has been this season, that the atmosphere has not been good. And we had Dale Johnson on from ESPN who was saying he goes away to away games as well, and he says it's the same there. It just hasn't had any bounce or bust to it, but maybe that's coming back now because of this here. Wednesday leading against Newcastle. Newcastle force it forward, goes behind for a corner off a Wednesday defender. So 54 minutes gone. Owls leading by a goal to 0.
When this place bounces, oh my goodness me.
Ball crossed in. It's going to be shot towards goal. It's blocked. It's going to be another wonderful save by Cam Dawson. Outstanding from the Wednesday goalkeeper. As the Owls clear it up, Newcastle will keep the pressure on. Murphy will shoot. This one a bit easier for Cam Dawson. What a save that was, Brian Laws.
Well, I'll tell you what, when you look at the first one, the first ball in from the cross, there's a shot for, I think it was Woods, that smashed it against McGuinness. McGuinness, it's just hit his back of his heel, come back out again. It was going to be a point-blank shot at goal, and there was a goalkeeper spreading his legs out, using every part of his body. Dawson spread himself. He has absolutely been sensational since he's come back into the team, and understandably Darren Moore has kept faith with him.
Well, just watching the replays, it is absolutely brilliant from Dawson, the way that he got down there, because it was on a plate, wasn't it, after it hit McGuinness and fell to the Newcastle man. What a save that was. So the big screen shows the reactions of the Wednesday fans celebrating as Windass put that goal away. Marvin Johnson with a slide tackle in here as Darren Moore applauds his team. He likes what he sees.
There's a bit of fire in the bellies, that's why. It's good.
All the Wednesday fans are wondering, you know, can you transfer a bit of this to the league as well? But maybe it is that occasion. It's just, it is hard when it's with respect, Morecambe, Fleetwood, Cambridge here at Hillsborough. You get Newcastle here. It's just different, isn't it, Brian?
Yeah, it is, yeah. They're certainly raising the game. But I can understand from the supporters' point of view, say, well, why can't you do it against Morecambe? Why can't you raise your game? Play at that tempo instead of being slow at times.
And in fairness to Wednesday, they have been getting the results against those teams. It just lacked a bit of pizzazz sometimes. Here is Palmer down the line to Smith. Smith forced backwards here, but he works it inside. Adeniran to Iorfa. He will chip this one forward. Flicked on. Windass will have a run. Windass tries to just run on the outside of Lascelles, but Lascelles understood what was happening. Got the ball and then dealt with the situation. As this one's played long here, Ritchie makes a run. Dawson will get there first. We've got half an hour to go in this game. You can hear the atmosphere at Hillsborough is building. Wednesday fans wonder whether this is going to be a night to remember, just as it was a few years ago against Arsenal.
Sometimes cup games can kick-start your season, you know, particularly with the supporters. Real good fire factor about the place.
Given away here to Dennis Adeniran, who's marching through. Slips it in towards Windass, who shoots! Parried by the goalkeeper, who made a really good save there. Did Martin Dubravka. I think it took a deflection on the way through, but Windass caught it, and it required a save to keep it at 1-0. Now Newcastle at the other end. End-to-end game here in the second half now, with Wednesday leading 1-0. Attempted back heel from Joe Linton, comes off a defender and out of play for a throw-in. But Windass almost made it 2-0, Brian.
Well, there was no question that Windass was going to have a shot. He has got a really firm shot on him. If he sees the goal post, he will have a go, have a crack. Sometimes he does it really what he shouldn't do.
It's a shot from distance, forces another save from Dawson. It swerved in the air and caught him off guard, and he had to parry it behind for a corner.
Again, another solid save there from Dawson. I think it was the power that knocked him over rather than it was moving. The pace of the shot was like fantastic.
Well, the Wednesday fans chanting the name of Cam Dawson. He's one of our own, they're singing. As the cross comes in, it's headed behind for a goal kick to Sheffield Wednesday, and they deal with that again as Dawson, who so often has felt the ire of Sheffield Wednesday fans in the past, but he's a hero at the minute for the way that he's performed since coming back into the team and the way that in particular he's played in this game. We're going to see Almiron come on in a minute for Newcastle. They're going to make a triple change, in fact. Eddie Howe rolling the dice here. We're going to see Joseph Willett come on, or Joe Willock as he's otherwise known, although I mentioned this is the most formal team sheet we've ever had. Surprised they haven't got middle names in there.
We haven't got a 24 on the bench.
That's
oh yes, we have Almiron. Of course we have.
And Bruno's coming on as well. So triple change for Newcastle. The players coming off. Sean Longstaff is the first to depart. And it will be Bruno coming on for him. Jacob Murphy coming off against his old club. It's a round of applause from the Wednesdayites here, who appreciated his efforts at Hillsborough. And the final change, we'll see Joe Willett come on for Elliot Anderson.
Number 52, Elliot Anderson, number 28.
Neither of us have had a go at saying Joe Linton's full name tonight, which is, as it happens, listed on the team sheet.
Yeah, it's a mouthful.
Ball up towards Smith, who will try and head this one. Here is the aforementioned Joe Linton, wearing number 7. It's that atmosphere now, the Newcastle fans, the Sheffield Wednesday fans, everybody helping to create a pulsating game, which will be being watched by so many people across the country on national TV and the BBC, and should be many people enjoying watching the football tonight, not just those at Hillsborough in what has been a cracker of a cup tie. Might not be one of those minnows, you know, like we saw last year at Kidderminster, you know, nearly knocking West Ham out and stuff like that. It's not quite of that pedigree, but it's still interesting. League One, Sheffield Wednesday leading against Newcastle, who will fancy having a go at this competition this year. They'll want to win something this season. Kicked out of play by Wednesday, who are battling and scrapping and scratching to try and get a result with 61 on the clock. And the lead of 1-0 thanks to Josh Windass's goal. Only really tells half the story, though, the fact that he got the finishing touch. The passing from Wednesday to create it, all launched from Byers' brilliant turn, but then an exchange of passes that created the chance. Brian Laws, you could call it a Premier League quality goal, really.
Yeah, it's as good as you'll see.
Now here's James. Lovely football from Reece James to slip it down the line for Will Volks. Now can Wednesday get numbers forward here to make the most of this? In fact, a Wednesday player's gone down off the ball, and it's Josh Windass, who appears to be in all sorts of pain. having scored the goal. He is in agony, Brian Laws, and he's clutching his knee, and you don't like to see this at all.
Well, it wasn't a challenge, was it?
Well, he was running through the middle. Well, it almost looks as if he ran into the back of one of the Newcastle players. But what's happened there? He's gone down in, and he was writhing around, and my initial thought was it was off the ball, and he's maybe done his knee there, or an Achilles or something.
I haven't seen anything yet. That's on a replay.
Well, he was jogging forward, and he sort of made some contact with the Newcastle player, but it was inconsequential. He went down. He was writhing around in pain, and now he's sat up, Brian, and he looks to be okay.
Well, let's hope it is. Hope he's okay, but
he's back on his feet.
Yep.
When he went down,
when you start banging, when you see players banging the floor, you think they're in real pain. That doesn't look like he's in real pain, does it?
No, it looks like he was making a meal of that, frankly, because when he went down, I was thinking, oh dear, what's this? ACL?
Yeah. Oh yeah, I didn't see anything, to be honest.
I think it was less ACL and more. I just need a bit of a breather here. I'll have a sit down for a minute. Is it the fourth official or someone who's gone and asked him exactly what happened there? Windass was explaining. Here's the cross from Johnson. It's not a good one though. It's just going to go straight behind for a goal kick. It's a shame that for Wednesday, because they were rushing forward there. They'd play us forward.
Yeah, that's not a Johnson cross, is it, that we normally see?
Well, played low. Just nudged into the air by Chris Wood, but there is Reece James again. And do you know what? He is little pocket dynamo, Reece James. He's got plenty of energy about him. He's carried this all a long way, and you can probably hear the woman in the background who's back again, shouting and screaming and wondering if he was going to have a dig there, but in the end he was closed down. On over towards this near side. Here is Kia, gets his cross in. Cleared away by Wednesday. That's the wrong choice on Marvin Johnson there. And he's got away with it as he tried to turn away from his man. Newcastle have it back though, and this is where they look dangerous. Here's Joe Linton. Plays it to the edge of the box. Just moved backwards temporarily here. Now over towards that right-hand side. Almiron to Joe Linton. Strokes it over the bar. You've got to be careful here though, Wednesday. You can't allow a Premier League team to pass it around like that on the edge of your own box.
No, well, I mean, the ball came into Joe Linton there to try and squeeze the ball into the goal, but I have to say, probably the fact that Iofa rushed out to him, probably just about put him off. Did enough to make him squirm a little bit. In the end, he kicked the ball over the bar.
The scores in the FA Cup: Luton 1, Wigan 1. Grimsby 0, Burton 0, still Coventry 3, Coventry 1, Wrexham 3, apologies, and Brentford 0, West Ham 0. BBC Radio Sheffield's football heaven. Here's Smith through to Windass. Can Windass get there first? He can! It's Josh Windass again! His second of the game, as composed as you like, and Sheffield Wednesday are on the verge of knocking out Premier League Newcastle of the FA Cup here at Hillsborough. 2 for Windass, 2 for Wednesday. Owls 2, Newcastle 0.
Well, you talk about Windass was down only literally a minute or so ago, banging on the floor, looking like he's in real pain. But they showed no pain whatsoever when the ball was released. He was on a foot race with the two centre halves in between Lascelles, and he just outpaced the both centre halves, centre of goal, and he coolly slotted the ball, giving Dubravka no chance whatsoever. Smashed it in the back of the net to give himself his second goal. His 5th goal in 2 games. Touch him, and he's hot, red hot.
He's on fire. What a finish that was as well, to beat his man, have the composure to stick it in.
Now then, right, could we have another second hat-trick?
Well,
do you think he'll be shooting from everywhere?
Well, you'll forgive him if he does.
Oh, absolutely, go for it. I hope he does get another chance.
Hillsborough's bouncing. You can feel the foundations of the grandstand shake. There's three sides bounce in joy and delight. It has been a famous night here at Hillsborough. They don't have many of them. I haven't had them for a long, long time. But they will enjoy this. They will soak this one in. The Newcastle fans can barely believe it. They've had such a great season. They will have thought, hey, we can have a go at the FA Cup. We might not win the Premier League this year, but that might be to come in future seasons. But we can have a go at the FA Cup, and unless they can turn this around, it's going to be Sheffield Wednesday, not Newcastle, who are thinking about round 4. Just listen to that noise, Brian. It's Hillsborough's just energised. It's reborn almost since this game.
Yeah, it's incredible. I mean, it has. It's really set the tone of the game as well. Wednesday are justifiably in front as well. They've been clinical. We're talking about you might not get many chances, but you've got to be more clinical. Bayek has Windus been clinical in front of goal. He's 2 chances in the second half, 2 goals.
Joe Linton, this is a good mazy run from him. He cuts inside and he shot towards goal, and McGuinness took it out of the hands of Cam Dawson, who was going down to collect it. It's gone behind for a corner.
Yeah, there's another corner, and Newcastle are making a substitution.
It's going to be Kieran Trippier who is coming on for Jamal Lewis. Kieran Trippier, who was with England at the World Cup. Always have a smile when I see him playing for England. And
well, they think so much of him here. I mean, the Newcastle fans love him to death. But when you're bringing him on, because they were hoping to rest him, when you're bringing him on, you know you're chasing.
To go and take the corner straight away.
Set plays have been sensational, to be fair.
What I was going to say about him was, I remember interviewing him when he was on loan at Barnsley as a kid, outside the famous West Stand Bogs at Oakwell. I bet he remembers that to this day, having won the league with Atletico Madrid and all. Cross comes in, big chance and a goal for Newcastle. They're straight back into it. Bruno taps it in, and Kieran Trippier's first act as a substitute is to cross a corner in, which is flicked on and tapped in from close range. It is Wednesday 2, Newcastle 1.
Well, you talk about making an impact. There's Trippier running across, his first touch of the ball, whips in an unbelievable ball, and it's just knocked in. It's gone through the legs of a Wednesday player, I think. It's come across. Dawson palmed the ball a little bit, but it's gone tapped in by Newcastle player. Oh, game on.
Yeah, what a game this has been. And now it is very much game on. Here's Joe Linton with a heavy touch, almost played it into the path of Adeniran. But Newcastle have brought on some of their big guns. One of them scored, and now they're chasing another one. And here's another one of those big guns. Almiron into a good position here. Plays it to the edge of the box. Wednesday have got defending to do. They hang on here, but there's still plenty of time to go. 20 minutes. Could be the Alamo for the last 20 minutes here from Newcastle. Botman. Newcastle fans roaring on their team now.
It's like they've woken up.
Here's Joe Linton. Touches it off. Volks intercepts for Wednesday. Cleared forward, but the Owls can't afford just to keep giving Newcastle the ball back for 20 minutes here. Newcastle fans, it's their turn to do a bit of bouncing and cheering and encouraging. Here's Joe Linton, who's increasingly dictating things as a maestro in the middle. Here's Trippier. Trippier gets the return from Lascelles. Plays it through. Almiron makes a run here. Bruno got the goal, plays it back to Trippier. Simplest of finishes in the end because of the quality of the cross and the flick on. Now here's a good bit of movement from Bruno. Slips it into the area. Chris Wood shoots. It's blocked by Sheffield Wednesday. But they look increasingly susceptible now to the Owls as this one's thrown down the line. Josh Windass, who scored 2, is now ushering a ball behind for a goal kick and gets warm applause from the Owls fans.
Yeah, you know, he could be forgiven for having a rest, staying up front, but he's trying to defend it, keep his 2 goals intact, to try and win the game. But it's Newcastle who've made the changes, thinking, right, we can't wait any longer. Is that a good decision by his manager? Probably yes. You know, to get themselves back in the game. The pendulum does it swing towards Newcastle now?
Long kick forward up towards Smith. Chests it down, but he's chested it down and managed to only find a Newcastle man. Wednesday try and scramble it back, but Newcastle come away with it. And all of a sudden that bit of Premier League class just looks threatening. It's funny how now that they've almost shaken the cage just a bit too much Wednesday to wake this Newcastle team up, but they'll like that Wednesday because that long ball goes straight behind for a goal kick, which Cam Dawson will take, and it's taken a wonderful cross from Kieran Trippier to beat him, and a bit of housery, if we can say that, from the ball boy. Drew in the Newcastle man, and just as he went to collect it, he
was just waiting for Almiron to come towards him, and then he's kicked it past him. Probably got the biggest cheer of the afternoon, this evening. Wednesday have to take a deep breath now.
What an 18 minutes we've got in store here. Can't take your eyes off it at the minute. Have Wednesday got it in them to counter-attack if Newcastle throw bodies forward and ask a few questions themselves? We'll find out. Look at that from Volks there, who has been a warrior in midfield. You know, we've been singing his praises and George Byers' praises all week on the phone-in, but it's been two different midfielders today. The battling from Volks, that bit of class from Byers for the second goal. I almost want to say Barry Bannon who? I mean that with the greatest respect to Wednesday's captain. As this free kick's taken quickly and chipped behind for a goal kick, just a little bit overhit there. You could see what they were trying to do, looking for Mark McGuinness. But when Bannon went down, Brian, everybody gasped at Hillsborough, worried that he was going to be a fatal blow really for Wednesday's promotion chances perhaps. But Byers and Volks have really stepped up to the plate.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's an unlikely combination because they're very much alike, I have to say. Very much alike. They play the sort of same way, but the combination has been good.
Almiron runs down that right-hand side, cuts back in. He's going to hit one, and he's going to curl it well wide. And he can be a real threat.
Oh, he's a good player. Almiron's a really good player. He's got a wonderful left foot as well. And the one thing that he'll be doing, though, when he's on this right-hand side, he'll be wanting to cut in. That's where James has to be a bit cuter, force him down the line perhaps, put him on his weaker foot.
Talking about wonderful left foot, just 2 seats across from me is Chris Waddle, who is commentating for BBC Radio 5 Live tonight. One of the best left foots you'll ever see.
Well, without doubt. A joy to play against.
Really?
No, not really. A joy to watch.
I always kind of feel that as Wednesday win a free kick, as in your position, Brian, you think of all these great players, and I don't know, do you ever feel like saying, oh, can we just stop talking about them now? Because you know one way or another you've got to defend them, haven't you? Even if you do a good job, it's going to be hard work.
Yeah, absolutely. The only thing I have to say, I've taken off Chris Waddle, and I'm really ashamed to say this, but I actually had one of his haircuts. I had the old little permed back, you know.
Some of us wish we could have a haircut like that, Brian.
I did have a Chris Waddle hairstyle. I went in and actually asked for one.
Did you waddle me? Love it. Absolutely love that.
I told him that story. He was laughing his head off.
Well, Wednesday have a free kick here. It's 35 yards out, and Windass is going to have a dig. He's going to have a dig! It's off the crossbar, and it's headed back in by Michael Smith, punched away by the keeper, and the ref's given a foul on the goalkeeper.
Oh, how unlucky is that for his hat-trick. Unbelievable strike. He's got it over the wall. He's got pace on it, power. He had everything. It was beating Dubravka, but the crossbar he could not beat.
What a hit.
What a great hit. Now that to top your hat-trick off would have been out of this world.
As you mentioned, Brian, there was all the talk about his muted celebrations at the last game, and I think if that had stuck its way into the roof of the net, I don't know how you could have kept anything but yourself going absolutely crazy. For a hat-trick goal.
Apparently there was a lot of talk and rumours saying that he wasn't celebrating because he's not happy with the supporters giving him some stick or something. So he's not been working hard enough. I
mean, I hate to say it, but it seems to have motivated him quite a lot if that is the case.
Well, yeah.
because he's banging form. I mean, he just is impacting games in a big way at the minute. McGuinness has won it back here in a really forward advanced position. Now it's played through to Windass. Maybe the hat-trick's on here. It's Josh Windass. He's going to play it across goal unselfishly, but he just couldn't pick out Marvin Johnson, who had got forward to try and help him in support. Johnson now digs out across. It's a good ball. It's Smith's header.
Smithy, you should have put that in the back of the net. You couldn't ask for a better cross. Johnson's quality cross yet again, right on the temple of Smith. All he had to do is navigate it towards goal, and he couldn't do it. But Windass was very unfortunate when he broke away.
Now here come Newcastle. What a game this has been. Fantastic to watch.
I think it's been end-to-end the whole game, not just this last 20 minutes.
Here's Willock's cross, headed away by the Owls. George Byers completes the clearance to Almiron. Edge of the box. Newcastle lurking, trying to find that way through. Willock, nice bit of footwork from Willock. Shot blocked, hacked away by Wednesday. They do just enough, Brian Laws, to get it away.
Yeah, did, yeah. You can see Willock, he was weaving his way in to the 18-yard box, dropping his shoulder left and right, trying to pull the trigger. But the block on from the Wednesday players was enough.
Ball to the edge of the box and intercepted by Volks, who again has just given absolutely everything. Back now with Lascelles from the throw-in for Newcastle. Botman, Wednesday very deep now, holding on with 12 to go maybe. Trippier moves it down the line here to Almiron. Left-footed inside, tries to play a little give and go. Back to Almiron. Kicks it against Reece James. Manages to hack this one to the edge of the box. Shot driven in from Ritchie. Good block comes in from Byers. All the way up to halfway. The Owls fans shout out and want their team to push further forward up the pitch. There possibly are a few tired bodies out there. Wednesday have given everything against this Premier League team to try and cause an upset here. Trippier across to Botman. Botman just checks his run, comes backwards here to Lascelles on halfway. As all of a sudden they just fall silent at Hillsborough as everybody just observes and maybe takes a breather. Now they'll go again as Windass tries to win it back, but it's good play initially, at least by Bruno, but then the Owls do win it back. And now here's Adeniran. Adeniran takes his man on. Good tackle comes in from the Newcastle man, and Liam Palmer lets it run out of play for a throw-in. Well, we said 10 minutes ago, Brian, we're set up for a great last sort of 20 minutes. Now there's 10 minutes to go. We're still set up for another great 10 on.
Oh, it's been terrific. Been a great advert for the FA Cup. I think both teams have given it their all. It's been fantastic. I don't think Eddie Howe will be disappointed with his team in the way they've approached the game.
Darren Moore with the big coat on, the hood over his head. He's hunched over at the moment, looking on. I bet he'd love to get on here and play at the back for the last 10 minutes. All kicked away by Newcastle.
Oh.
It's going to break in midfield here. Trippier inside. Bruno, the goal scorer for Newcastle, gets past a couple, nudges it through. Good tackle comes in from Dominic Iorfa. Cleared only as far as Joe Linton. Now here is Trippier. Wednesday are going to make a change in a minute, and they're going to bring on Callum Patterson, who's been heavily linked with Hearts. Robbie Nielsen saying talks have taken place between the clubs. Is he going to be set for a move either in January, or will he sign a pre-contract agreement with Hearts? Will he extend his stay at Hillsborough? We'll see, as this one's chested back wonderfully by Reece James.
Calmness personified. Well done, James. Seen the script, seen the ball come across, and he's had a little look around to see where he positioned if he is in the 18-yard box. No Newcastle player around him, and he calmly chests the ball back to Dawson.
He's been a revelation as left centre half. I mean, I don't think he's ever played there before. He's got the stature of a left back, hasn't he?
Yes.
But he really has settled into that position, and last few games I think he, along with perhaps Liam Palmer, you have to say Windass as well with the goals, and Michael Smith, they have been the standouts.
Yes, they have. I don't think anybody will argue with the case with that one.
Why do I say that? And I've just completely forgotten that 5 minutes ago I was extolling how good Byers and Volks have been as well. I mean, there are a few that are doing well.
Oh, what a ball.
That is a terrific ball to release Joel Linton to the edge of the area. Joel Linton passes it off, and Chris Wood sticks it over the bar. Kieran Trippier sinks to the turf with his head in his hands. He can't believe it. What a miss.
Oh my goodness. Let me just can I just roll back 30 seconds? The ball from Trippier, that's why they brought him back on the pitch, why he's involved. He's such a good player. His first touch into Joe Linton's stride took him into a fantastic area of play. Joe Linton's driven through the centre halves and squared the ball to Wood, just to tap it in, put the ball in the back of the net. And whether he's a bit relaxed, maybe the pitch is a bit bobbly.
Don't give him an excuse,
I'm
Brian.
not. I'm just building it up. It was a rubbish finish.
The Wednesday fans have remembered that he played for Leeds back in the day. You may have heard that in the background.
What he should have done is where he was standing, stamp around all these little potholes that he thinks the ball bobbled on.
Yeah,
just to give us all a clue.
It's a good one. That's how when you get out in an embarrassing fashion in the cricket and you go and work on the pitch before you leave the square. Well, I don't know why Joel Linton passed, frankly, Brian. I mean, he'd done all the hard work, and it was very unselfish of Joel Linton to pass to Chris Wood, but he perhaps could have finished it off himself and probably wishes he had done now. Here he is as well. He's been really good for Newcastle.
Oh, Joel Linton's been. I've really enjoyed watching him. He's strong and composed, two-footed.
Here come the team in white again. Newcastle down the left-hand side, numbers in the middle, kicked behind by, I think, Volks again, who is there.
His recovery was excellent, got to the 6-yard line, he just put his body on the line to knock it out of play.
There's a Newcastle man down, so we're going to see Jack Hunt come on as well as Callum Patterson. That'll be interesting to see what Wednesday do there. Hunt, the right wing back, is it? Is it definitely Hunt's number? I think it is, isn't it?
Yeah, that is. It's Hunt and Patterson.
So we'll see who comes off. Patterson might be for Michael Smith.
Yeah, you would think that, wouldn't you? Here we go again. Do we get a same Trippier corner?
Well, he has shown for so many years how good he is at set pieces. He came on, took a corner, and it led to a goal instantly. From the same left-hand side, it's Kieran Trippier's corner.
Oh.
And it was another great ball in. And it's headed behind by McGuinness for another corner. Sorry, it wasn't McGuinness, it was Smith who headed it behind.
Yes, again, a wicked ball in. The pace of it, the curl towards that near post area. Goalkeeper can't come.
I just wonder, is it worth... I think he is going to take Michael Smith off, but for situations like that, are you not worth keeping him on? For the corners, defending, heading it away?
Patterson's decent in the air himself, to be fair.
Here's another corner from the left. Swung in again by Trippier. Oh, it's a deep one. Worked on something there. The man peeled off at the far post. Was kicked back into the area, but cleared by Wednesday. With 5 minutes to go plus stoppages. Ball crossed in. Another dangerous ball. Flicked away to the far post. Back into the middle. Willock's shot. Comes off Smith again. Another corner to Newcastle United. Big moment in the game, this.
Oh, that's huge, isn't it? You can feel the tension, the pressure, the panic. Wednesday players are got to try and stay calm in this situation, and it's really hard. They're desperately trying to want to clear the ball.
Corner comes in, headed away by Iorfa at the near post. Wednesday lead 2-1 against Premier League Newcastle. Can they knock them out of the FA Cup, or will Newcastle get an equaliser here, which could take us to a replay? Ball moved into the box. Chance to turn, cleared by the Owls. Kicked over towards this near side. Newcastle with Almiron will just take the time. It looks for Joel Linton. It's been closed down by Dennis Adeniran. Trippier. Bruno. Come on, Wednesday, is the chant from the Kop end as this one's headed away. Wednesday can't get on the ball at the minute. Trippier. Willock. Joe Linton. Edge of the box. Left of centre. He teases forward, gets to that left corner of the penalty area. Finds Willock. Now Bruno. Bruno with a little shimmy. Takes on his man. continues his run, moves it over towards the left-hand side. Here's Almiron, goes on the outside. Trippier, Almiron plays it intelligently to Willock. He pushes it back to Ritchie, and he skies it over the bar as well.
Wow. Newcastle look like they're trying to walk it in. Iorfa's gone sprinting towards the ball. Got a little bit of cramp.
Well, here come the two Sheffield Wednesday changes. Michael Smith is coming off for Callum Patterson. Smith, who has worked tirelessly tonight, and he will not get the goal he was after against his boyhood team Newcastle United, but he might get a victory, which I'm sure he'll settle for if it stays this way. And the other man coming off is Liam Palmer in a straight swap. And Liam Palmer will pass the captain's armband on to Will Volks, who deserves it for his warrior-like performance tonight. So Patterson will play up front. Jack Hunt will go and play on the far side as a right wing-back. Warm applause.
Yeah, I think he's got to be on for his pace, because I think the left-hand side of Newcastle
It's great to see Liam Palmer get a standing ovation and have his name sung around the ground, because he's one of the nicest blokes you'll ever meet. Has given everything for Sheffield Wednesday and has had a lot of unfair criticism in his career. Now he's rightly getting the credit he deserves for a fine season, and he's done his job as well tonight, as everybody has, as Patterson heads this one on. Headed into the air, Patterson's there again. Is Windass onside? He is not. Flag goes up. Easy to forget that a few minutes ago he was inches away from a glorious hat-trick with that free kick which hit the crossbar. This has not been a fluke. Wednesday have created some chances. They've scored some
Well,
good
they've
goals.
created the best chances, to be fair, and for once Windass has been brutal in front of goal.
Here's Almiron. Almiron can't keep it in. Good strength from Marvin Johnson. I don't know why the Newcastle staff member's not giving the ball to Marvin Johnson, though. He's just wasting his own time. Marvin Johnson will gladly allow Newcastle to waste their own time. Thrown up towards Patterson. Heads it inside. Now a chant of Barmy Army from the Kop. There is a minute of normal time to go. Sheffield Wednesday 2, Newcastle 1. 2 goals from Josh Windass. They've given Wednesday a foot in the 4th round. Can they finish the job here in the dying stages and knock out Premier League side Newcastle? Here is Bruno. Moves it inside to Ritchie. Newcastle continue to knock on the door, to ask questions, to try and find that equaliser, to get it at least back to St James's Park for a replay. Botman, Joe Linton.
Oh, look, he's straight.
Byers is shrugged off by Joe Linton. Byers goes down, but the ref waves play on. Now Willock. Willock over to the outside, and Trippier. Willock again. Willock thinks about a cross. Instead, he takes it on. Joe Linton slips it down the left-hand side. It's played across. It comes off a Wednesday man, Patterson, and behind for a corner. And now the ref will stop play to see what is the matter with George Byers.
Well, Byers has gone down. I mean, to be fair, Joe Linton only 6 minutes.
6 minutes of stoppage time. I don't know why everyone's surprised. I mean, we've just the World Cup where there was 10 minutes every game, and Josh Windass has been down, and
I think it's not far off. I was going to say suggest 5 minutes at least.
Yeah.
Byers has tried to outmuscle Joe Linton. Joe Linton just shrugged him off. There's nothing malice in or malicious.
Is it a bruised ego that he's down with him?
Probably, maybe. But the one thing for sure is it's a silly decision if he's got a bruised ego, that he's actually gone down and got the treatment, because he'll have to go off the pitch on a critical moment.
Yep. Well,
and there's a corner being taken.
That could be big. That could be a big moment. Well, we'll see. I mean, the Byers has had some injury. We're sort of half joking there, but of course we all hope that George Byers is not injured. We'll see if Wednesday have to make another change here.
Unless he's winded him.
They can still make another change, because they've made 3 subs, but they can have sort of 3 sets of subs and make 5, can't they? So they can still bring on another 2 players.
Yep.
In their sort of third window for a change. But they made one at half-time, didn't they? So that's the substitution rules confuse me now, Brian.
Absolutely, I'm with you on this one. You know, you can do 2, 3 at certain times.
So anyway, Byers looks as if he's going to be okay. The corner comes in, it's deep, well headed away by McGuinness. Back in there, it's scrambling around. Wednesday clear it out of their own 6-yard box, but Newcastle will keep the pressure on. In the cross comes, knocked down by a Newcastle man, hammered away by Marvin Johnson. George Byers comes back on the pitch. Newcastle forced all the way back to Dubravka. We've had 2 minutes of the 6, of which I think there may well be another minute added for the George Byers injury, as the board went up when he was down. We are going to see another change for Wednesday in a minute, perhaps for Byers, as this one is kicked away by the Owls, although it is, I think, Malik Wilkes who's coming on. Now we're going to see Backinson come on as well, so it'll be a double change for the last few seconds here. Trippier inside. Wednesday 2, Newcastle 1 in stoppage time in the 93rd minute, with 6 minutes of stoppage time shown. Good interception by McGuinness there for the Owls, edge of his own box, kicks it away only as far as Trippier. Dennis Adeniran fouls his man, but the ref waves play on. Trippier on halfway, kicks it inside to Botman in the centre circle. Now here's Willock. Willock will run forward, get to the edge of the box, plays it in towards Chris Wood, who had missed that big chance earlier in the half to tie it up. Now here's Bruno, who got the Newcastle goal off the bench as a sub. Newcastle still with the possession, edge of the box, but perhaps a little bit guilty of overplaying a bit here. Trippier back over to the left. We've had 3 minutes of the 6 now. Wednesday hold in position, try not to allow any gaps, try not to be pulled apart, as Ritchie gets his cross in, and it's headed away by Callum Patterson. Josh Windass, who gets a header on that one. He's the man who's got the 2 Wednesday goals.
The way that Newcastle are holding the possession of the ball, I can't see these 2 substitutions getting on, because they can keep it for sure.
Here's Bruno into Wood. Now Willock. 3.5 gone. Willock holds on to it, strokes it across towards Trippier. Trippier's ball in. It's a high hanging cross. It goes over the head of everybody. Kept in play on the left hand side. Now another cross into the box. Dawson comes, and Dawson catches it.
Well, there's your chance now to get your subs on. Wasting 30 seconds or so.
A roar of Wednesday rings around Hillsborough after that catch from Cam Dawson, as the...
Although he still can't get them out, to be fair. The ball's got to go out of play or a free kick.
But Wednesday just hanging on and battling. And they've given the man of the match to Josh Windass for his 2 goals, but frankly, you could have given it 3 or 4 players out there tonight. It's been that kind of a night for Wednesday. Now we are going to see the changes, and it is going to be Byers coming off for Backinson.
Yeah, he's put a massive shift in. Byers, and deserves a round of applause. Nobody's leaving the stadium at the moment. They're holding on.
And the second change is Josh Windass coming off for Malik Wilkes. So we've had 5 minutes of stoppage time. I think we'll probably see that at 6 turn into a 7 or an 8 as this one goes forward. Wednesday all clear. Malik Wilkes has now got to try and hold this one up. He gets there, he shields the ball, he turns his man, he's urged on by the Wednesday fans just to try and hold the possession. It's kicked backwards by Bruno to the keeper. He gets the return from Dubravka. 5.5 on the watch. Hammered forward by Newcastle this time. A real sense of urgency from them now. Flicked on towards Joe Linton. He crosses it in. Wednesday should be able to clear through Marvin Johnson, who just flicks it away from the penalty area. Back in again by Newcastle as Trippier gets into a strong position. Moved over towards Joe Linton. Joe Linton down the line to Almiron. Almiron Back to Joe Linton. Whistles ring around Hillsborough. Joe Linton's cross. Kicked away by Sheffield Wednesday. Malik Wilts boots it clear over halfway. We have had 6 minutes of stoppage time. The ref looks at his watch. How much longer will he add? As this one's thrown forward again by Newcastle. Wednesday are seconds away from a famous win here in the FA Cup. But the ref's given a free kick for a foul
that's
by
never
McGuinness.
been a free kick. No, that's never been a free kick.
There are 2 balls on the pitch. Ref's got to try and sort things out here. Mark McGuinness has got to get back in the box.
Fourth official's gone. He's going to book somebody.
Well,
is it?
I think it's because a second ball was thrown on. Or is it because there's a problem with his equipment? I think it is. It's just the referee's equipment that there's an issue with. Seems to be fixed now. So this might be the last action. Wednesday lead 2-1 against Newcastle in the FA Cup. Are they going to knock out a Premier League team at Hillsborough here? Darren Moore looks on, hands in his coat pockets. Kieran Trippier will throw the ball down. The Wednesday fans cheer their team on for one last heroic effort from this set piece. The England international crosses it and it's too deep. It's flicked on by a Newcastle man to the far side, kept in only just, booted almost clear by Newcastle. Wednesday will try to clear, back in again by Newcastle, whacked away by Wednesday, over towards the left hand side. Desperate defending here. We are 7.5 minutes into stoppage time now. Newcastle still probing, still looking for that equaliser. Cleared by Wednesday. Referee has a look at his watch and there it is. And Sheffield Wednesday of League One have knocked out Premier League Newcastle of the FA Cup by 2-1. A famous night here at Hillsborough. Celebrations for the team in blue and white and for Darren Moore. What a night. A night that they've not seen in Sheffield 6 for many years, Brian Laws. Wednesday, winners against Premier League Newcastle.
Well, brilliant job by Darren Moore and his team. He's fist pumping the crowd. He knows this is a big result for Wednesday. Not just for the fact we're getting through to the next round of the Cup, but the fact that this could actually just embrace the football that they've been playing in the league as well. It's been a terrific night of football, end-to-end entertainment. I've thoroughly enjoyed it. One of the best cup competition games I've seen for quite a long time. But Bayek, we talked early about how important it is about when you're in key moments, you're not going to get many chances, you've got to stick the ball in the back of the net, you've got to be ruthless. Windus was ruthless in that second half. Yet Newcastle still had their moments in the second half, but they couldn't match Windus's finishing. Woods was guilty of blazing over the bar. There was many Newcastle players could have had opportunities to shoot instead of pass the ball. So they can't go away being unhappy, think they've been robbed. I think Wednesday thoroughly deserved that edge, that moment, and into the fourth round. So well done, Sheffield Wednesday, well done.
It's just felt like the club needed something like this, Brian. You know, a big night in the FA Cup, beating a Premier League team, to lift it, to really take it onwards now in this promotion race, and this is going to energise the fans and the team. This could be a really important win.
Oh, you know, the atmosphere in the dressing room will be electric, and that's where Darren Moore will want to transfer that. He'll almost want to cup it and take it into the next league game. Look what it means to the players. That's how they've got to feel every game now till the end of the season, to get promoted out of this horrible League One. So well played, well deserved. It's not been a fluke. They've earned the right, and they've matched Newcastle and have been toe-to-toe with Newcastle. Newcastle are going on for glory and better things. I know they are. They're building for the future, and I will look with and admire Newcastle from afar, being a Geordie boy. But tonight, it's Wednesday's night.
Oh, look at these scenes here at Hillsborough. It's electric. The fans lapping it up, the players taking in the celebrations, a lap of honour from the Wednesday players. And like I say, it's been a while since they've had a night like this here at Hillsborough, and they will enjoy every second of this. The Wednesday anthem rings around Hillsborough. Many of the fans are still here to enjoy and live this moment. Wednesday defeat Newcastle of the Premier League thanks to 2 goals from Josh Windass, 2 very well taken goals from one of Wednesday's in-form men, but you could run through the lineup from Cam Dawson in goal and the big saves that he made to Volks and Byers in the middle, a rear guard that repelled Newcastle at the end, and with the Wednesday fans singing and serenading that team back down the tunnel. What a night this has been for the Owls, and what a night in the FA Cup here in South Yorkshire. Thanks for your company here at Hillsborough. We're back tomorrow from midday with Derby and Barnsley. What's next in this special competition? Enjoy your weekend.